So now we're going to start section B, which are the short programming questions. Hopefully we'll avoid any further mistakes in my answers. Okay, let's read what this says. The skeleton program is to be improved so it displays an error message each time the user enters an invalid number of cards when asked how many cards there will be in each player's hand. The error message, invalid, please try again, should be displayed with a blank line between it and the previous message each time. Displayed with a blank line between it and the previous message each time the user enters an invalid number. This should be displayed before a user re-enters a number. Change the get number of cards in hand subroutine so that the error message is displayed with a blank line between this message and the previous message whenever an invalid number of cards is entered. And then test by testing a valid value and another valid value and another valid value. That must be an invalid value. Yes, that is an invalid value. Let's just remind us of this block of code. This block of code is this one, get number of cards in hand. When I say block of code, what do I mean? I mean subroutine. So let's look at the subroutine, get number of cards in hand. Okay, of course, 1 is invalid. So what did we say before? We can have anything between 2 and 13. So I know a previous question talked about 26, but I don't think they want us to think that we've made that change. So the maximum is 13, so 15 is definitely invalid. Is this asking us for validation? No, it's just asking us for... Oh no, it is asking us for validation because it's asking us for invalid, please try again. So what does that mean we need? We need a loop. Oh, we've already got the loop. We've already got the validation. So the idea is that there is no input. So should be a blank line between it and the previous message each time. So let's first of all put the previous message in the input and let's put the error message here. The error message should be invalid. Please, invalid. Let's do exactly as it states. Please try again. No full stop, and then a blank line. Let's test the program. So this is the first function that's called. So let's test it using the first test value, which is 15. Invalid. Let's test it with 1, which is also invalid. Ooh, am I okay to enter on the same line? Yes, I think it's fine. But however, it looks inconsistent here, so I'm going to make an improvement to this. I want to add a new line after the input statement, just like we've learned in class, just to match the print statement at the top, because that will always give us a new line. So I want to do it here as well. All right, let's do the test again. So first of all, testing with 15, invalid, good. Now testing with 1, invalid, good. Now testing with 3. Ooh, and this is important. So we must be able to see that we get on to the next stage of the game, which proves that the input has been accepted. So this is going to be my screenshot evidence. So I'm going to take the snipping tool. I'm going to draw a box around my evidence, which is this. And then I'm just going to use copy, Control C, but you can also press this button. Go back to my EAD, and that's going to be my evidence for section B. That was 4.2. So let's have a look. So the screen capture comes second, 4.2. Let's put that in there. And now let's put the actual code that we wrote. What was the code that we wrote? We put in this. So I'll take the whole block of code, and what I'll do is I'll just paste that in as text, just like that. Okay, let's do the next question, which is question 5. The skeleton program is to be improved so that when displaying the cards in the player's hand, it displays a more detailed name for some of the cards. If the card suit has a suit of T, then the word triangle should be displayed instead of T. Oh, I think I misunderstood. So when I first said tops, players one suit, the name of the suit is not tops. It just means that it's the top trump suit. Let's just make that correction. Okay, so it was checking if it is tops. And tops was a variable, of course. So we've got a variable at some point in the game, which is P. So that is the top trump suit. Suit, rather. Okay, what are we doing with this one? So if the card has a suit of T, then the word triangle should be displayed instead of T. Okay. Change the display hand subroutine so that the word triangles is displayed for cards that have a value of T for the suit. So, okay, so let's look at def. And what's a nice way of doing this? So we've got a variable called suit, which is 0. And all this is a procedure. It's only used for printing. So what we can do here is just put a nice if statement. If suit is T, then how about we change suit into triangles? Does that meet the requirements of the program? So it wants us to test by pressing 13, enter, and then enter again. And because it's a random selection, we need to make sure we're following this. If there are no cards with a suit of T, then you should repeat the test until there are. So we need to make sure that the evidence shows what we're looking for. Let's restart the shell. Type in 13, press enter. Oh, and then we got a T. So it would be highly unlikely. So you see we've met the requirements of the task. So again, let's take the snip like this. And then I'm going to copy and I'm going to put it in my EAD for the second part. And then we're going to go back and we're going to get my program code, copy the entire subroutine, and put it in my 5.1 box. All right, let's have a look at the next question, question 6. The skeleton program is to be improved so that suit used for tops can be changed. Change the main subroutine so that the top suit is entered by the user rather than always being P. The line tops equals P needs to be replaced by the code that requests the value. So they can either choose P or C as tops. So we need to do a check. We need to do a check to make sure it validates that it has to be P or C. If not, we need an appropriate error message. So we need another loop with a validation check. And then we need to test it. So let's put that in. So when they enter tops as P, we don't want P, we want an input. And we want to say, enter the suit you want to be tops, P or C. And here we have to think of an option, sorry, a prompt, because it's not telling us exactly like before what the prompt would be. So let's just say, enter the suit you want to be tops, P or C. And once again, you won't understand this program because you haven't had the time to study it, but please remember you'll have from January up until May to really study your program for your exam. So you'll be fully prepared for questions like this. So how should we do this? Let's do while tops not in, and now let's make a list of possible options, P and C. So I'm making a list of strings. And what we need to do is display an error message. That is not a valid selection. And what I'm going to do is just copy and paste the next one. And because before it wanted us to do everything on a new line, even though they're not asking us to do that here, to keep it consistent with the rest of the program, I'm going to make sure to put new lines in between things. All right, let's see if that works with our test data. We need to start a game with 8, then enter T, then enter C. Let's see if it works. Whoops, let's just close the shell to get a fresh shell, a fresh console rather. Let's have a look. We want 8 cards and we need to enter T. We should get the error message. That is not a valid selection. Enter the suit you want. What is the one that we want? Oh, we need to enter C. So let's enter C. And because the program is able to go on to the next stage, I think that means that we've succeeded in completing the task. So again, let's take a screenshot, screen grab, screen capture is the language used in the syllabus, I guess, and put it for 6.2. And what was 6.1? Well, 6.1, we needed to get the program source code for the amended subroutine main. So again, you need to copy the whole subroutine because that is our evidence. Some questions will be more complicated, so you'll be required to change more of the code. So let's put the entire block of code into 6.1. Right, we're going to take a pause there, and we'll look at questions 7, 8, and 9 in the next video.